Really major. Create more tension, more excitement, whatever it takes. Now, go from this state to being in a state of boredom. Go ahead. Sit the way you'd be sitting if you were bored and tired. That's it. Just notice how that feels. Go ahead. Really bored and tired. You know. And as you're sitting there bored and tired, I got a question for you. Did you change your body to do it? You bet you did. What did you change to get bored and tired? Well, did you notice anything happen to your head? Did it go down? Did you relax any of the muscles? What happened to your breathing? Did it change? How about your facial expression? Does your muscles go slumping or slack? Now try this. Get back to energize as fast as you can. Oh, come on. Play with me. What I want you to do just for a moment is practice snapping yourself from being in a state of being bored and tired into a state of energy. It's going to be very valuable for you. Let's try it. Back into an energized state. Come on. As energized as you can get. Come on. Sit up in your chair. Breathing with some energy. Feeling strong. Come on. Even more energized than before. Now go to bored and tired. Back to energized. Come on, as fast as you can. Snap yourself. I know this looks weird if you're driving in your car and somebody's looking in the other window, but hey, it'll make their day. You'll change their state. Come on, if somebody else in the family's watching, they don't have to know what's going on. Just go for it. Here we go. Total energy. Lots of energy and excitement. Feel it in your body. Move your body. Sit the way you're sitting. If you have even more energy. Bored and tired. Energize as fast as you can. Come on, snap back in that state. Bored and tired. Energize. Faster again. Come on, even more, even more, even more. Bored and tired. Energize. Back in that state again. Feel it and just stay there. Stay in an energized state. Now, you might say, well, this sounds weird. Let me ask you a question. How valuable is it for you to be able to go in life, in business, in your job, in your personal relationships, from being bored and tired and wiped out to being in a peak state? How important would that be to increasing the quality of your life, say on a scale from 0 to 10? I'll tell you, I think it's a level 9 or 10 or above. And I think you probably would too. So developing new ways, new habits of moving your body is the single most powerful way to change state. Here's another quick way. Change your breathing. As I said earlier, one of the reasons people smoke cigarettes is because in order to smoke a cigarette, you change your breathing pattern rather radically. When people eat food, oftentimes they feel better afterwards because they fill their stomach up, and it changes the way they feel and the way they breathe. With all that food in there, things slow down. They feel less stressed. Almost every yogic practice that I've ever studied or noticed teaches some kind of breathing pattern as part of how to change your emotions and the way you can grow spiritually, if you will. So changing your breath, try different breaths, breathing faster, breathing slower, and discover what breathing patterns work best for you to create the changes that you want. Thirdly, learn to manipulate your face. I teach people in seminars how to do what I call facial aerobics. What that means is doing many different expressions as you possibly can in a short period of time, so that what happens is you really have access to different emotional states. Do you know you have over 80 different muscles in your face? And a slight change in your facial muscle instantly changes the way you think and the way you feel. There was a study done at the University of California at San Francisco where they took manic depressives and all they did was change their facial expressions, made them smile on an ongoing basis. These are people who are manic depressives, bear in mind. People who normally need drugs to change the way they feel. Not one of those persons, while they were able to keep smiling, was able to feel depressed. In fact, some of them began to manage themselves by smiling for 20 minutes at a time for no reason. And pretty soon they began to feel great, and they began to develop a new habit. Do you have habitual facial expressions of grimacing or frustration, where you crinkle up your nose or your eyelids or your forehead or something else that you do on an ongoing basis? I'm here to tell you that those habits create those negative emotions in your body on a regular basis. You need to develop some new habits of using your face. And finally, one of the ways you can manage your state best is to control your diet. And I'm not going to teach you a health seminar here, although I do those across the United States. I do want to say this to you, that most of us in life do not pay attention to what we're putting in our body. And what you're putting in affects deeply how you feel emotionally. Blood sugar, for example, alone makes a radical shift in how you feel emotionally. So if you aren't paying attention to how you're eating and you're throwing anything you possibly can in that body without looking at the consequences, you're going to pay an emotional price. Many times, hyperactive children or people that are having major ups and downs in their life, it just comes from some basic, simple dietary approaches. If they made a few simple changes, they'd live a much more balanced emotional life. So my challenge to you is to study health, to find out not how to throw your pendulum and go off on the deep end on some bizarre diet, but how can you make sure that the way you're breathing, the way you're moving, and the way you're eating things is giving you as much as possible to your life and not taking away, not throwing your life into a pendulum. Make sure that you have that physical energy and drive. It comes from having enough sleep and eating well. For now, though, I want to have you focus on one emotional state, because I'd like you to be able to trigger a state change anytime you want. And that emotion is the one I note as passion. As you may have picked up, I'm a fairly passionate person. And I talk about that at the end of each tape, because I think out of a state of passion, you can create almost anything you want in your life. I think most people in life want passion. They want that drive, that attraction to life. They want that juice in their relationships, in their business, and their ability to learn. But most people are barely making it through the day, you know? I mean, hey, you gotta watch TV, fight the traffic home, get a bite to eat, and go to bed so you can get up tomorrow and start the same vicious circle all over again. I mean, after all, guys gotta work. Gotta make your way and stuff. After all, I work hard for a living. Can't expect me to be passionate at the end of the day. Easy for you, but come on, I work for a living. Let me just tell you something. I used to believe that kind of stuff, and I used to feel that way too. Am I saying you can't talk slowly and be passionate? Absolutely not. I can talk quietly and still have passion coming through in my voice, in the way I'm speaking to you, in the way I feel inside. But that's passion. This is not passion. If you want passion, you got to talk like you're passionate. You can't talk like you're bored and feel passionate. It won't work. Your body will lead your mind. Take care of it. How can we use this knowledge? Simple answer. I want you to do it by doing the following. In a moment, at the end of this tape, your only exercise today is to do this. I want you to absolutely whip yourself into a passionate state. And if there's somebody there, I want you to talk to somebody about something, and I want you to do it two different ways. Talk to them about something you believe in, something you're really usually pretty excited about, but do it in a dispassionate way. In other words, talk to a friend. And by the way, let me just say this. If you're in your car or if there's nobody there, talk to the wall, okay? Talk to the road. It doesn't matter. If you're talking to yourself and people are driving by, they'll again be entertained, so this is very useful. Now here's what I want you to do. If while you're doing this, I want you to talk about something, and you can just talk out loud to no one or talk to someone if they're there, talk about something you're normally inspired about, but talk in a non-inspired way, a dispassionate way, where it's like, you really don't believe what you're saying, but you're just trying to convince somebody of something. So you say, gosh, you know, what's really important to me in life is learning to change people's conditioning and help them to succeed. And I really think that if you were to study it, it would really change your life too. And I want you to notice what you do when you're dispassionate. Notice, for example, how you're standing. Are you wavering back and forth? Are you standing still? Are you back on your heels? How do you gesture, or do you even gesture when you're dispassionate? How do you use your voice? What's the volume? What's the tempo? What's the tone of your voice? What do you do with your facial expressions when you're passionate versus dispassionate? Pay close attention. And then what I want you to do is, and really go for it. For 2 or 3 minutes, be totally dispassionate. Notice how it feels to be dispassionate. I doubt if you'll like it too terribly much. Then what I want you to do is change your state completely, and I want you to go to the other extreme. I want you to talk to yourself, or the wall, or your radio, or the crowd, or the traffic, or your friend in a totally passionate way where you're more inspired, more excited, more passionate than you can ever remember being in your entire life. I mean, I want you to go for it 1,000%. And while you're talking to whatever it is, I mean, go for it 100%. Don't go, oh, this is stupid. No, all right, I'll try it halfway. Do it all the way or don't do it at all. If you're not going to do it at all, give this tape program to somebody who will follow through. But if you're one of those people, then go for it, okay? Be outrageous. Push yourself. And then notice, how are you moving differently? What are some of the specific gestures that you give when you're passionate? And where are they? And what's the difference in the quality of them? What's the difference in how you use your voice? What's your volume like? What's your tempo? What's your facial expressions like? Again, notice the difference. When you're done, here's your assignment. Your assignment is pull out your success journal and record the difference. In other words, what I want you to do is leave this session today having knowledge of the buttons in your brain. In other words, if I notice that if I take my right hand and I actually snap it out in front of me very, very fast, that when I'm passionate, I tend to do that making a point. And when I'm dispassionate, my hands are below my waist or just kind of hanging out there. Then the next time I want to be passionate, even if I'm not feeling passionate, I can just snap my hand out there and immediately it's there. If I notice that when I'm dispassionate, I talk kind of quiet and tired and stuff. But when I'm passionate, I speak a little more rapidly. Then if I want to get passionate, I just start speaking more rapidly immediately, and pretty soon I immediately feel passionate as well. If I notice that when I'm dispassionate, I'm back on my heels or leaning away from somebody, but when I'm passionate, I'm leaning into them, talking and gesturing, then I start leaning into somebody in order to feel passionate towards them. In other words, find out how your brain works. You are different than me or anyone else you're going to meet. Find out exactly what triggers passion within you in terms of movements. And experiment. What would be a kind of move you could make that immediately would make you feel strong, even if you were afraid a few moments ago? So let me be clear. Here's your exercise. 1. Talk to something or someone in a dispassionate way about something you're normally inspired about. Dispassionate, or you don't really believe it or feel it. 2. Change your state and get absolutely passionate, where you feel more excited, more energized, more passionate than ever before. 3. Dissect in your mind the difference in how you moved, how you breathed, how you use your face, and how you use your voice, and record that in your success journal. And finally, today, experiment. At some point in the day, you don't feel very inspired, or you don't feel anything in particular, snap yourself into a powerful state. Or ask yourself, where am I on a scale from 0 to 10? If you find you're at level 4 or 5 or 6, to me, that's a pretty boring way to live life. Maybe you want to amp yourself up, crank yourself up to level 8 or 9 just by changing your movement. Or maybe you want to be able to go from being totally excited to relaxed just by changing your breathing or your tempo or your gestures. Because being able to relax quickly and easily is sometimes and oftentimes as important as your ability to get yourself excited. The only reason I push in the other direction is I think most people have the ability to get in this state. They may not have the ability to get in the other one. Whatever you're already good at, make it better. Whatever state you're not good at getting in, practice getting into it until you can absolutely make the change you want as fast as you can think it. Remember, any emotion you're feeling is based on how you're moving. Little movements like breathing, and big movements like gestures and facial expressions. Take control today and experiment and explore. Have the adventure of discovering how you can use your body to immediately direct your mind and your emotions.